Guess Jack Meany's not.
I guess Jack Meany's not coming. That's too bad. Good evening and welcome to,
September 10th.
thank you, I was gonna say today, if nobody's gonna say something pretty soon. September 10th Planning Board meeting.
Might want to say it's 2020.
Okay, September 10th, 2020 Planning Board meeting. Anything else I need to add, like 7 o'clock or PM or anything like that, Neil, or is that good? Okay, I'll put me in a smart, you know what, for a little while. The first item on the agenda is a continued lot line adjustment application at 291 and 295 Dustin Tavern Road.
You need to vote me in.
Hold him in.
Appoint me.
Jeez, I just take a breath.
I need to appoint Pastor Bob, Bill, whatever.
Bill, Bob's my middle name, it works.
Oh, Pastor Bob, Billy Bob,
Billy Bob.
as a voting member. I did get an email from Dan Hickinson saying he was double booked for tonight. I assume you're the owner.
Yes.
And, did I keep my map? I haven't even had a chance to look at this stuff.
Oh,
Hey,
I have multiple agendas, do you have one?
I have one, a printed one.
Use the new summary, which includes the items that are required.
notes in my plan say brook, which he shows, setback, which he changed, shed, question mark. I don't know why I say shed, question mark.
Because he,
Oh,
the
it's
shed's
taken
gone,
off.
because he took it out.
5 pins.
1, 2, 3,
1,
5.
2, 3. Yep, 5 pins.
Is it 6?
And rotate that one bearing, which he did.
He moved this a little bit from what it was, right? You know the other one?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had to put a little,
Kink in.
put an extra kink in it, yeah.
That was for my grandmother's peach tree.
Gotta keep the peach tree in the right property
Yeah,
there.
I had to keep the peach tree in honor of my grandma.
That's a good reason.
Yeah.
What was that one for? No, 12.68.
1.68,
No, that's the new one.
yeah, that's the old,
No, that's the new one.
It's the old one.
oh, 1.66.
The old one was 166, the new one was
Yeah.
168.
However, I don't see the, right, say something stupid. Note, second part of note 2, is that? Never mind.
What are you thinking? Do you want to do that?
I have no idea what I'm thinking.
Oh, it used to say Parsons on J.
Right.
Remember?
Yeah, I have the wrong thing crossed out in this, yeah. Each of them,
So that's
okay.
correct now.
If you say 200, it says 150 now, fortune is spelled right, and lie is now lies.
Did he get state subdivision approval?
His letter that I have in my hand, I guess I should read it.
Applied for.
Lot line is moved back to the original location, leaving 140 feet of frontage on Dustin Tavern Road. An equal area was added to offset the land that was added to this. Miscellaneous draftings include adding setback lines, flipping a line label, adding the brook and setback line in the vicinity of the barn, moving the shed that was taken down, corrected notes, spelling errors, expanding note 4 to explain a portion of site lies within 2 different zones, and removing the incorrect lot owner's name, which is the other way. State subdivision approval has been applied for. Available site loading for lot 41134 is 1,525 gallons.
Is on .4, 150 and 200, it's supposed to be the same, 150 and 150?
Which one is it?
Pardon me?
On .4, note 4,
Yeah, I thought we said
minimum
we
road
changed-
frontage is 150, I thought. It got changed in one spot and not both spots.
No, because the residential district it is 200.
Okay.
We didn't have any frontage in residential district.
But the other part is village district, which is 150.
But it was, prior
Yes.
to the change was 140.
Yep.
And he miscalculated and thought we made that smaller, so we're going back to the original one,
Right.
140.
Does anybody from the public want to speak? No, you don't have to.
So I think we're the only thing missing is state subdivision approval, right? Which is pending.
Yeah, which is pending, which you should be getting pretty soon, I would assume.
Yeah.
There was a letter that went with it, so.
Yeah.
Yes, I read the letter. I'm happy. Is that a motion, Bruce?
Revision, yeah. Make a motion, we approve the revised plan labeled revision A dated 9/4/2020 for Spielbergers and the Zion Boss, pending, conditioned on receiving state subdivision approval.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Congratulations.
Thank you. Do I go now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Good night.
Right. Anything else?
Are you doing workshop stuff, or?
I haven't had a chance to look at any of it since last meeting. to be honest.
Anything on private road or subdivisions? Or do you wanna wait for Jack?
I would really like that Jack to be here for the subdivision.
Wait for Jack?
It'd be nice, wouldn't it? Yep. Since he's a selectman and all.
And private roads too, wasn't that his start of it?
No, that was
I think
me.
Craig was gonna work on something.
That was gonna work on it.
Remember,
Yeah, but Craig was gonna work on some language
yeah.
That's Craig's job.
for the conditional
I
use
tried to talk
permit.
Neil into it. He
list.
backed out before he even got started, ready to say anything.
Language on.
Conditional use permit,
What, do you want me to play around with it?
Sure. Creating a new Article 28 or whatever it is.
37.
Private roads need conditional use, and I'll read what your criteria is for conditional use. And start off a draft and everybody can start changing it. At least it'll be started.
Works for me. Our office is moving.
oh yeah, you mentioned
What a nightmare that is.
Where are you moving to?
Right now, we're on East Industrial Park in Manchester. We're moving to Harvey Road in Manchester, which is beside the airport, basically.
So why?
Because we're running from Nash, and publicly, I probably shouldn't say what I think of Mr. Nash right now. Our rent is.
The terms of the rent has changed.
Yeah, the terms of the rent have changed as of September, end of September, so we had about 4 months' notice. So we bought a place and
Oh, good.
moving in. A lot of work.
You gonna survey that new place, or?
Already did.
Got it.
2 days before the closing, they said, "Oh, we need a plot plan." Why does the banks always do that to me?
So did you do a bank plot plan or a real one?
Give me a real one.
I guess, something came up with a little snippet of a sentence in the zoning.
Yes, it's on our changes. Some changes.
What is the article?
3.4.2.
3.4.2. Jack, you're going to talk about this one too.
What page is that?
Yeah, page 9.
3.4.
3429.
No.
3.4.2 on page 9.
Is that on the one we got? Yeah.
It has to do with the grandfathering and vested rights. It says any,
The very last sentence.
yeah,
It's all one sentence.
yeah, pretty much is. The way it's written right now, that definition, when any existing non-conforming use of land or buildings has been destroyed or discontinued for 2 years, the land structures and buildings shall thereafter be used only in conformity to this ordinance, comma. Except that the zoning board of adjustment, after a public hearing, may permit the resumption of said non-conforming use. It's pretty loose, vague. And it says discontinued for 2, and non-conforming use, if it's discontinued. So if somebody discontinues a non-conforming use for 2 years and puts a conforming use in there, and then says they want to go back to the non-conforming use,
They have to have a public hearing with the zoning board.
all I need is no special exception, no variance, no nothing, just a public hearing.
Doesn't even say that.
Huh?
This says public hearing.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Doesn't say what type of hearing.
I got a legal opinion on it because it's related to a case.
I know.
Would it be better if, instead of having the ZBA do that, the planning board did that?
I think we ought to change the comma after ordinance to a period and eliminate the rest of the sentence.
Planning board doesn't even have the authority.
Then they could go for
They're
variance or
they're
special exception, all depends what they were doing.
period.
Works for me. The period and
Yeah.
deletion.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, that would be assumed, right?
Yeah.
This is going to have a public hearing, right?
Yeah, it's a zoning change.
Zoning
Well,
change.
zoning.
Yeah.
Town vote.
Starting in December.
Okay.
I think something we ought to address for warrant article for that.
Is there, you mentioned that this arose in connection with some sort of a case. Did you check with council to find out if the elimination of the sentence, the change that Bruce is proposing, if that would have an impact on the case?
No, it shouldn't, because the case is before
No.
the ZBA already, so we're not interfering with anything that's already gone in the works. And that limitation doesn't start until we have the first public hearing on a change, which we can't happen until December anyway, right?
Right. I'm tired.
I think we
There's a
better,
couple of things that I have, and then you have minutes. That's what,
Okay. I'll have my minutes with me.
I made copies.
And I brought some too, so.
I made copies of agenda and copies of minutes. Do you have a hard copy?
Okay, we'll look at the
I
minutes. from-
printed out my own. This is
I'm all set.
the first. You're talking about the 27th?
Yes.
there something that addresses the whole thing we went through with the farmer's market deal? Pertaining to the use in that place was this, because of where it's zoned, but it had this, therefore it was okay. But it wasn't that, and therefore, how
Well,
do we,
Essentially,
is that
with this
applicable?
clause in here, even though it was converted to an office, they could say, okay, it was discontinued more than 2 years ago, we want to go to the ZBA and ask for a public hearing and
Right,
make it residential again.
okay,
And they could.
okay. But how do, I guess the
This would
question.
stop that.
But that would stop that.
Yeah.
But the question I'm puzzled over is, how do we how is that documented to say that it stopped or it changed?
Well, we approved the site plan, the planning board approved the site plan for the office space for underneath.
There's a history, on the tax.
On the tax.
I was gonna say, the assessor should have something on there saying it's you being used as a multifamily, being used as
Yeah, so you
a.
start
Right, but
looking at the
what,
notes
so
of
by the
history.
time Scott Wood moved in there, it was formerly a business and multifamily. When he moved in, it wasn't, it was just a single family. And then he let that back end become the gun shop.
Mhm.
I don't know if that came before this board or whatever. So that was the puzzle in my mind at the time when we were going through that. How do we know that it's been 3 years? How do we,
Well, there's a site plan.
was there
that
clear
done-
evidence of that?
Well, for that there is, because there was a site plan done for the gun shop, and there's a date that was
There's a
approved.
history of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For some older things, it might be a little fuzzier.
Right. Sorry.
On the Spielberger one, the first, like the middle bullet, you got 5 pins, and you got DES approval letter. Cross out approval, cross out letter,
Okay.
and then insert the word subdivision between DES and approval.
Okay.
I don't think we had show height of bank either, height of bank.
Yeah, well,
We did?
you wanted to know
We discussed it
the
for,
banking, you wanted some type of an elevation on that banking.
we discussed it to just figure out where the edge of the wetland was, we discussed it.
Okay.
I don't think we,
You don't need it on the plan, you just discussed it?
yeah,
Did they-
I think so.
Did they show it on the plan anyway?
I mean, he showed the banking
Yeah.
on there, I don't think he put an elevation on it.
We showed the edge of the brook, oh. I filed mine away.
But I think that's what you said too, was there's elevation there, so.
It's probably on the DES approval plan too, because
Okay.
I'm sure he had to show contours on that. They don't give waivers for contours.
Yeah, there's no,
So you want the word discuss instead of show height of bank?
Yeah.
yes.
So you can show it.
In A, lot line adjustment, the bolded words motioned should be moved, M-O-V-E-D. Same thing in the second line from the bottom.
Oh.
And again, middle paragraph on page 2.
And on the B, it says fire approval needed. A bulleted item about 2/3 of the way down,
What page are you on?
page 2.
We talked about
Got it.
distance.
Could you,
Where did you
fire,
say
it says fire
Oh.
approval, somewhere right there. Fire approval. You just want to change it to fire department, fire ward, fire wards?
It's the board of fire.
Yeah.
Instead of approval, how about recommendations? We don't need their approval.
I put it on the chief's schedule to go check the distance on the cistern up there.
I just had that plan.
There was no cistern talk on that one.
On the,
On B subdivision, C, we talked about,
Because there is a cistern on Rockland Road, they just wanted to know if it was in 2,200 feet.
oh, I thought we were talking about that on
No, on,
C as well.
we're talking about on both, actually.
Yeah, that's true.
on which one, on both?
On
Yeah.
both C.
Okay. Oh, the first one on B was because this might be the fourth lot.
Right, that's right.
And 3 or more lots require a cistern.
Right.
On C, there is a cistern up there somewhere.
We just wanted how far
We
away it
just
was.
need- Right, the chief's gonna measure to make sure it's within 2,200 feet.
Right.
Got it.
So on that C, where it says note needed about cistern, you want to make that note needed about distance to cistern?
Okay.
Okay, back to B. I got a bunch of questions and comments. First, in the first paragraph, after Mr. Kirkman approved by all 4-0, I would change the next sentence, say areas of discussion included, or something to that effect, areas of detail discussed. The fir-
Areas of discussion included?
Yeah, that would work. Include the following.
Cross out of details? Or details?
So the first bullet, TMS diesel, instead of saying requests, I would say may purchase the new lot as a buffer.
May purchase?
Yes. Because we can't have any control who buys it, he's saying that, but.
Oh, I
And we can't base our decision on him
Right,
buying it.
just because
see, yeah.
the third bullet, what do we need DES approval? Is that for the notes that he left on here about the septic, for the driveway permit? I believe, that's what I think it is. I don't think he needs a DES
We don't need
approval.
subdivision approval.
8 acres.
No. Was there,
'Cause there used to be that wetland crossing to get back in the back end of that lot.
Oh, yeah, he did have a wetland.
And he has a note
Yeah,
saying,
but we're not, he doesn't need it now.
No, but you
Right.
talked about it.
right, so I don't think, third bullet I don't think should be there.
Cross it out.
Then the fifth bullet says move well from right of way. How about move well radius out of right of way? What is the bond?
Just put contain well radius on lot.
What's the bond about? We have bond. We discussed a bond? I'm sure you didn't make it up, but
No, I, right over all my notes.
I don't think there's anything about a bond there.
unless it's a bond for the cistern.
Well, we haven't determined if there is needed one yet.
Didn't get there yet.
I think, cross that one out. Till we know if we need it or not.
I don't know what the bond was about.
Okay, you kinda got this here twice, I think you could merge these together. It says meet with fire board, and then that last one down, cross that one right out,
Okay.
because we
Which
addressed
one?
that further down. Fire board recommendation,
I wasn't done yet. Instead of delete note 9, revise note 9.
Okay.
we didn't go by it yet.
Variance will not be needed. That is crossed out also, because that's part of the old note that he had for the wetland buffer crossing thing.
Right, it was to remove that note that he needed a variance.
Right.
So just cross it right off.
Yes, the variance, he doesn't need a variance. Note 5, missing the word and.
No, before you get to that,
Yes, okay.
that lot line adjustment part,
Yeah.
that's wrong too, because there is a new lot being created.
Well, no, because he mentioned, when we brought up the cistern and meeting with the fire wards, Dan said, well, maybe we will do a lot line adjustment. Remember?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but they haven't determined that yet.
So there may not be a lot created?
It may not be, but that's up to the applicant to decide. We haven't heard
And
one way or the other, right?
Isn't this just a review?
I mean, that application's for a new lot, so.
Mhm.
do you remember what he said about it?
Yeah, let's take that whole lot line adjustment bullet out of there.
Because if he creates a fourth lot, he may need a cistern, so then he's talking about, well, maybe I'll just do a lot line adjustment.
Right, they were going back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that application as presented is for a new lot, so.
Right.
Right.
So just cross it off. and
Yeah.
then-
Yep.
okay, then, okay.
I think I gave Marguerite the plan I marked up for the subdivision for Greco.
Marguerite?
Marguerite.
Back to note 5, what was this thing with that?
That's okay.
Oh.
Yes, we did. He did miss the word and.
Did you want to change fire approval needed?
Yeah, to fire ward
Recommendation.
recommendations needed.
Recommendation.
Yeah.
That's all I have in minutes.
Sure.
I'm done looking at them.
You looked at the last page?
I did.
On on that,
Just in case, yes, I did.
Craig, just
Oh.
before C, subdivision. That sentence, Mr. Kirk seconded after no discussion.
Yeah.
So it should, Mr. Kirk seconded, and delete the words after no discussion. So it would read, Mr. Kirk seconded, comma, and all were in favor 4-0.
Yes.
The discussion would have happened after the second, right?
Not
Yeah.
before.
Right.
Move to accept the minutes as corrected.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained.
It's just minutes, we're caught up on minutes.
Are there other minutes?
No,
No,
we've been doing pretty good staying up on top of the minutes.
we got behind for a while, but we did catch up, yes. What else you got, ma'am?
At the last meeting, you read the correspondence from Southern New Hampshire about hazardous mitigation.
Yes, I did.
So I checked into it, and Naomi said that they adopted a 2018 plan.
So we're good
So
for
you're-
3 more years?
so you're good for 3 more years. And there's been a request to do a site walk to finalize Hilburn Road. And do a site walk.
What's the issue there?
It's done.
Final road acceptance.
Hilburn, yeah, acceptance, it's done, it's final.
Is K&A gone, walked it yet?
Each,
You get a list from them, or?
They did everything on the list.
oh, punch list is done?
If we could have a copy of that, we do a site walk, just to, what,
And a copy of the as-built plan you have in your hand, too.
Did I send it to you?
yeah, you did.
Maybe. Your email has been dragged and dropped into a folder the last week or so.
So,
Part of the move part.
as built,
Today was not actually very well, a little bit at the end of
as
it.
built and the inspection report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When would you like to do the site walk?
When do I like to do it?
Can't do it Saturday morning. I'm busy
Good.
Saturday morning.
Can't do it Saturday all day. I'm going fishing, I'm gonna take the boat out of the lake.
Monday? Monday at 3:30? What's your phone? You're supposed to check the calendar.
Right. My calendar is relatively light, I keep it in my head.
Okay.
Oh, no.
We start, the,
Monday's the 14th,
I'm good that day.
and you're around by 3:30?
I won't take anything to the new office on Monday. I have no way home from work, so I will be, yes.
and where is this?
Hilburn is, off of Timbers,
Kind of
The old
behind.
Daniels Road.
I think Daniels Road.
Yeah, I know where Twin Bridge is, so is it marked
Yes.
Yeah,
You go in there, it's the first road on the right.
so it's on the right.
as you're coming from 114?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's about
Where are
quarter
we
mile
meeting
in.
at? The top, the bottom, in the middle?
It's a little subdivision,
Last
we
time
did
we
this,
met
we
in
did
the
a
middle,
site walk
didn't
to, way back when, to determine if we were gonna do a cluster or conventional subdivision on it. We walked it behind Autumn Hills Campground, basically. We walked down to the lake, and there was canoes and stuff down there, and you were saying, whose canoes are these? And the guy was saying that they belonged to Autumn Hills, but they didn't have the rights to be there.
I remember that,
And we,
but I don't remember,
and we bumped out 2 deer, so both everybody wanted to do a
but
cluster,
that's,
so we did.
that's in a different location from Hillbrook, right? As I go, I'm on 114, I
Yes.
go down Twin Bridge, am I taking a right or a left?
Right,
Right,
So I'm going up toward the lake,
Correct.
yeah. It used to be the old Daniels Lake Road there,
okay.
but they
Oh,
fixed,
yes, I remember that,
they tuned up the first couple hundred feet of it and then took it right off of that.
okay.
so make sure for Monday at 3:30, make sure it's good with everybody else. And I'll email you.
Jack's the only, well, I guess Chuck and Jack.
I'll email them, the owner,
Oh, yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Keith.
Is there some notice requirement that we are violating if we do it so soon?
No, because the
No.
sidewalk I just post on the website and calendar here.
You don't have to give 10 days' notice or something?
I don't think so for
No,
a sidewalk.
it's a continuation of this meeting, so.
Right, not for a sidewalk, but they will when the Board of Selectmen have their public hearing to accept the road. But they can't have that public hearing until the planning board approves the final,
Okay.
We make a recommendation, we don't approve.
until they make the recommendation to approve.
Or not approved?
Or not.
approve.
Right.
Planning board has to make their recommendation. End of sentence. And then I will do that two, continuation for the 24th. I don't think, I have to come back in to expand hers, but that'll probably be October.
I told her that the other day when I saw her.
Okay.
Follow application, notify the butters, all that good stuff.
And the other correspondence was a notice from Sept for wireless services facility.
In Hooksett?
Yeah, they had to do any kind of wireless activity, a regional. That's all I have.
So we're gonna continue subdivision regulations, continue private roads.
And get ready for zoning changes, which we set the schedule already for December.
The only zoning change we have are private roads, that Article 3.2.1, and there's another one.
Well, your question, I would still like to propose to move that sentence on commercial.
Sentence.
The very last sentence that says no residential allowed, I'd like to move it right up front. 2410, under non-permitted uses.
I have a question for the board about zoning.
Well, before you go there, I think you can move it without having a public hearing and not changing the intent or
No, that's it.
anything about it. You're
Yeah,
just moving it.
that's,
Where are you putting it?
Closer so when people read what's permitted and what's, they're not reading the whole thing, everybody.
It should come right after permitted uses.
Very first one after permitted uses goes on, really should not be the last one.
So you're gonna renumber the whole thing?
Yeah.
No, yeah, but what she's doing in one sense is smart, because
Yeah,
if you look at
I
Article
agree.
25, there's something about industrial, permitted uses, and then immediately following that is non-permitted uses. So what she's saying is, if people
should-
reading this,
Consistency, yep.
They're not
the
reading.
consistent, no, but the consistency of location of each section will help people.
I agree, I think it should be after special exceptions personally, but
To which
permitted uses, special exceptions, then non-permitted.
that's not how the book reads though. Every other section, permitted uses, non-permitted.
Non-permitted, yep. Yep.
Yep.
I don't know why commercial is different.
Well, I'm trying to find one that has all three.
Uh, 18 and 19.
Of course, I went the other way. That's parking.
And then you had questions before, commercial, doing something with commercial pet facilities. You sent
what?
me, you sent me this and asked me to save it for October changes to zoning.
I'm glad I sent it to you.
Yeah.
Since I have no memory of it whatsoever. Oh. Where'd this come from anyway?
Came from you to me. I don't know where you got it. Anyway, we wanted to bring it up for discussion.
This was on Plan Link. I don't even know who it was. Somebody brought up the commercial kennels / breeding facilities, doggy daycare, et cetera, need a plan for the short-term storage and removal of pet waste. Because A, it's not supposed to be flushed down the toilet, so B, it has to be handled somehow.
There was a
You wanna make that part of the conditional use?
We kinda went over that with that horse facility over there on Twin Bridge Road, when we talked about their
Well,
waste.
the state has
Yeah.
best management practices.
Which is what we applied that,
Yeah.
we got what we applied there.
And it's right in your farm, right in
Right.
the right to farm.
So we could almost apply the same standard to any pet waste.
You could. Best management practice, I think, covers not just
Yeah.
farm animals.
Because we did some reading on that for that arena down there.
Yep. Something you wanna put in our zoning?
We should do something about it.
Maybe
because
reference
since-
best management, maybe reference the best management practice.
And then
We probably ought to
last,
try to
Document
find out what
there.
they are first, too, though,
Well, we'll look at them again, but I mean, we did look at it for that horse
for the
thing.
horse, but what is it for a dog?
We can apply the same
Take
thing.
care.
It doesn't have to be just, if we look at it and like it.
Well, I don't remember what it said.
Yeah, I
have no
know,
idea.
I know. But I think we can start
last
there.
year
anyway.
I asked if you wanted to regulate Airbnb or tiny houses, because that was a big issue with all of the
Mhm,
towns around, and
mhm.
at that time you said no, ask again, so
Personally, no.
I think tiny houses are gonna get regulated by the state here shortly. So I think we ought
I
to
don't
move
know how you
along.
can re- I don't know how you can regulate how somebody rents out a house.
What is the issue that you think should be addressed, Kelly?
Look,
I don't, I just know that, just when you're in that network, everybody's talking about how they wanna regulate
Yep.
Airbnb or tiny houses, but I think I agree with Craig, it's like, can't tell you who to rent to in your own house if you go away for 6 months.
And I thought that the motivation for that was, from the state's point of view, trying to make sure that they collected the rooms and meal stacks.
Right.
And that was the.
that's what Mount Washington Valley is going through right now. They're trying to figure out how best to do that.
Right.
Well, then they got complaints about people renting out. My neighbor rents out. There's fireworks almost every weekend. I don't care. I mean, it's kind of, to some people, it's a little loud and obnoxious noisy. To me, it's not.
In an Airbnb, are people renting out the entire house?
Yes.
Or do they rent out individual rooms?
Both,
Both, yeah.
both.
If they rent out individual rooms, then
Usually,
that,
usually it's the whole house.
then that would violate the zoning ordinance. Because
I've never
that
seen
would
them.
make it a motel or a hotel or something other than,
Usually, I don't know if maybe they rent out multiple rooms, maybe they rent out a small section of the house.
Like a bed and breakfast type thing,
Yeah,
maybe. I've only seen them rent out a whole house. I don't see part of a house.
but I mean, if it is room by room, then that wouldn't be an Airbnb, that'd be a bed and breakfast or something or whatever.
Yeah, something.
so
Well-
if you list it on Airbnb, it has to be the entire premises?
No,
No, not on the website.
that's how they started. They rented out their living room with an inflated mattress.
And some of us put a couple of bedrooms down in the basement.
Well,
It's
If
very
it-
scary.
I think that's a whole different story than subletting your home while you're gone for 6 months.
Or even a weekend, yes.
Right.
if in fact somebody is renting out rooms, then that's an enforcement issue, because that violates existing zoning.
Right.
We
So,
don't need to change anything for that. If they're renting out the whole house,
I don't think we need to change anything for that either.
unless there was a decision made, a policy decision, that was not an appropriate thing, and I don't see why people shouldn't be allowed to rent out their houses if they want to.
It's existing non-conforming use, we go and say you can't do it, but everybody's been doing it every year for X number of years. Yeah, I don't think we should go there.
Okay,
I agree.
okay.
And don't bring it up next year either.
Don't bring it up again.
No more tickling.
You want me to look at theirs? And then 3.5 with the accessory structure to non-conforming uses. Are we going there yet, or are we still waiting? You wanna add accessory structures to that sentence, because it doesn't really, it says residential.
What's the issue here, Kelly, on 3.5?
So if you have a-
Oh, yes.
If you have a non-conforming use, right, it will allow you to build on that non-conforming lot? But just a house, or can you build a garage?
I think you can
And
do
then
accessory
I add
structures
on to it?
too.
And then can I add a barn, and can I mean, when do they have to be conforming to a structure for a non-conforming lot? That sentence tells me that your home can be, doesn't say anything about anything else.
Personally, I think it'll be accessory structures too, also.
I agree, but it should be written right in there, so there's no room for gray interpretation. No gray area.
The purpose of section 3.5 is to say that if you have a non-conforming lot, you can, and that predated the ordinance,
Correct,
you can develop it,
you could build a house on
a house.
it. Isn't that what that says?
Yes,
Yeah.
single-family residence.
A single-family residence.
You can't build a
So-
detached
so-
garage, you can't build anything over anything over 100 square feet.
Well, I don't know if you can. Is single-family residence including accessory structures, are we supposed to assume? Or,
Like a detached garage, yeah.
Yeah, or chicken coop.
but you don't have the attached garage for another 5 years.
Right,
So when do I have to make it conforming to the setbacks? At what point of a development do I make it conform to regular setbacks, 50 feet and 25?
Usually those lots are small lots, right?
99% of them are. So I think you should just add, including accessory structures with the resident, anything other than.
single-family residences
businesses,
and
I don't wanna-
accessory
So I mean, how do you
structures may
say,
be constructed
is there
on a
such a
lot.
thing as residential accessory structures?
You can word it however you want to word it.
The definition of accessory use in the existing Article 4 shall mean a building or structure that is incidental and subordinate to the permitted use on a lot
Okay.
and used for purposes customarily associated with the primary use of the lot. Heliports or airports shall not be considered accessory uses.
I think with that, I think we just say accessory use, accessory structures.
Accessory structures are allowed.
Right.
Or just add and
Yeah.
with, or whatever.
Residential, single-family residence and accessory structures.
And
Accessory,
including accessory structures.
Comma after residence, including accessory
And is that,
use
I was
structures.
gonna bring that up again this year.
Mm-hmm.
you better be careful because there's also a definition of accessory dwelling unit.
Yeah, that's,
Yes, but that, we know that's an ADU, that's different. That, I don't have a problem.
Yes, you're right, that is different.
I don't have a problem interpreting that. And then page 25, I need to correct an article number. I don't have it with me, but I made a note to myself.
page 25, article, what'd you say?
Page 25. It says correct article number. Or is there a wrong article number on there?
Must lead to,
6.1.4, special exceptions, except where indicated.
yeah, it must point to a wrong article number or something, maybe that's what she's.
Yeah, that, I don't need a public hearing for that, though.
Maybe it's Article 6.1.4?
And then
It
the
is.
last thing
6.1.4
I
says
have
variance.
is not zoning change, but it's a building permit ordinance change. It's two things, we have to correct the 2015 today's code. It still refers back to an old code, but it wasn't worded right, we have to so I'm gonna have a lawyer write it.
Mhm.
And one other thing that the lawyer picked out was fines and penalties. It's in there to fine building without a permit, twice the amount of the building.
Twice the permit fee,
something
yeah.
like that. Yeah, she said we
Can't?
can't.
So I get a rebate?
Yeah, no. Did you go without a permit?
Yeah,
I forget why.
I paid the fine.
But anyway, so
When did you do
there's,
When did you do that?
It was a while ago.
Oh, okay.
so there's two changes on that, and I thought we could just include it.
What did the second ever do with the building permit fee?
Yes.
Guess what?
40 cents. And then I had a list of examples or, some
So we're not getting it
scenarios-
back?
Scenarios that would come up, like pools and decks and sheds and, mobile homes. And so they changed the mobile home one to, if you replace a mobile home on the exact slab, on the exact slab, then it would be $50 for the application, $50 for electrical, $50 mechanical, or so on, so $100 or $150. But if you put a double wide on that single manufacturing home.
expand the
Then you
slab?
build square footage. Yeah, people went online, so then it's the square footage.
That's reasonable.
So we're not getting that back, and it's all settled.
Right.
Good.
I can change it next year. No. What else did I have?
I've got one,
We got
page 28,
page 28,
yeah.
okay,
22.4.3.
22.4.3. What's it say?
Mixed use of residential and commercial shall be permitted in the Ware Center Village District. Is there any reason why you can't say all village districts for that?
Well, one thing wouldn't be put in that article.
So is that, you do not allow commercial, mixed use, commercial and residential unless it's already existing, correct?
No, we do here in the Center Village District.
But that's it though, right? That's-
I think there's a reason for that, Bruce, and it should stay, and that is the Center Village District is really a sort of a commercial area. You might even say that North Ware is a commercial area, so you could expand it to that. But Tavern Village, Riverdale, you know, they're village districts, but they're not of the same kind as North Ware and Center. So if you wanted to say add North Ware, you could make the case, but that's really a residential area with one exception, and the one exception is blackbirds. So I'm not sure why you'd want to change that.
I think he's meaning more of the overall commercial zone, not the village districts. I don't think it should be added to the village districts either.
Well, it's
Maybe in the commercial district to allow mixed use.
kind of bring up to start discussion about the mixed use part.
I think the mixed use is gonna be a pretty big animal to try to tackle, because I don't think everything zoned commercial should be allowed for mixed use, I don't think.
Then we should probably have like an overlay district, a mixed use overlay district.
Yeah, I told you it's gonna be big.
I know,
Yeah, an overlay district for mixed use, yes.
and it could be in other parts too, other than just commercial maybe, or, because we could do it as an overlay district for anything, if we determined it was appropriate.
So that old schoolhouse that's across from the church up there,
That's been for sale forever.
right, is that allowed mixed use?
No, it's not in the Center Village District.
That's
North
North
Ware.
Ware Village.
But that's
That's not
been
even Chase.
abandoned for a
Just
long
say there's no
time.
use
Chase
been on
Village.
for 2
I
years.
know, but the last couple of.
I've gotten several phone calls on it
potential
about septic
buyers
designs and all that
asked
for
if
it.
they have a class store for
Huh?
I think we
real
need to
estate,
have it myself.
class for-
Well, it looks like inside, but
Well, there's no septic or well that
I know,
applies.
yeah.
Yeah, then they know that.
I get those
Plus
calls
it's
a couple a
plus it's
year.
registered at the historic, right? At the
Right.
state, so-
It's not possible to put in water or septic there?
You could put a well in, but you can't put septic.
No, I don't think you
get
can, that's the problem.
What's,
why not?
the- Go out the back
Well,
door and you're in
the lot
someone
loading, it
else's
doesn't
yard.
have any lot loaded, lots, it's screwed up, I looked at it a couple times.
is it possible to buy some land from an abutter?
It's possible to do some kind of easement, you don't have to buy the land if you get an easement.
Say again?
You don't even have to buy the land, you can put septic systems in easements.
Oh, easement. Septic easement.
Really?
Yeah,
You can get a loading easement, not even put the septic in it.
right,
For that matter.
right,
But the abutting landowner would have to.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
approve
Oh, yeah.
that.
yeah.
You get a 2-bedroom house on it. State has to give you 2 bedrooms.
Wasn't there a chicken coop behind
Allow
that?
Everybody that's
Airbnb
called
home-
wanted more than that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Are you ready for a motion, Mr. Chairman, or are you going to exercise your vast authority?
I'm not gonna make it, nope, I'm not gonna exercise any vast authority.
I'm not gonna exercise.
No, I'm too tired to exercise.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yay. I just realized we're moving the day after our next meeting. So Mr. Nash, who we're running